here. All right, we're going to wait for y'all all to join us this evening before we start. Assalamu alaikum. For those who poke their head in, wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi barakatuh. Sister Rakaya, thanks for joining us this evening. Come on in, join us this evening. Show us your beautiful typing or a beautiful profile pic. Alhamdulillah. The Imam will be joining us shortly. Make sure the volume is up and it's okay. Let's see here. Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh. Thank you for joining us. Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh. Thanks for joining us. Alhamdulillah. Thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. What a blessing. Here we are again. Another Thursday. Let's open up. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa alihi wa sahbihi wa salama tasliman. Alhamdulillahi wa kafa. Wa salamu ala ibadihi alladhina astafa. Amma ba'd. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, I seek refuge in Allah from the rejected shaitan. May Allah bless our master, Sayyidina Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his family, his companions, and give them peace. All praises are due to Allah, for he is sufficient for us. Peace be upon his slaves, whom he has chosen. As to what follows. Welcome to the Half Your Deen show with myself, Samira Abdullah, and our co-host. Hopefully he'll be joining us shortly, Imam Naeem Abdullah. I want to take out this time to thank Allah for his many blessings, and I thank Allah for his wisdom. I thank Allah for withholding those things that we pursue that are not good for us. And I thank Allah for those things that he bring to us, make us allow to have, participation in it that we didn't think we deserved or needed. MashaAllah. Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh. The Achille family is watching. Alhamdulillah. MashaAllah. MashaAllah. So lots have changed since the last time that we were here since last week. So much has changed. One thing I wanted to point out, as you all know, about the shooting of the brother in Philly who had mental issues and end up losing his life over some incompetency. And so it really is like, I'm tired of seeing these, senseless killings, because I have a son and he's profound deaf. He can't hear anything. So I was just imagining the scenario if the cops pulled over and was yelling out commands. He couldn't hear them. They're not doing sign language. They don't know that he is deaf. He's like a grown man. And so I was just putting myself in that, the shoes of that mother. And I heard that they were saying and telling her to move out the way. Here it is, my son, he cannot hear. He needs for me to communicate to them that, what they're trying to say. And they telling me to move out the way and shoot him because of their incompetency. It's time. This got to stop. And no one's safe. So the cops will call for an emergency for them to assist. It's gotten so bad that you don't even want to call them for things that are legitimate, because you're going to end up losing a family member over this nonsense. I'm tired of it. It just saddened me because this is not the first time. There was a young black man some years ago, He was deaf. And he was trying to, you know, he was trying to communicate with the cops using ASL, American Sign Language. They thought he was throwing up gang signs and shot him. So this makes me scared for my child. This makes me scared for anyone's children. No one is safe. So may Allah protect our babies, protect our, our youth, male and female. May Allah protect all of us because you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. But in the meantime, instead of worrying about what's going to happen, to the best of your ability, be the best Muslim that you can be. So at least when you go out of this world, you go out as a Muslim. I mean, wa alaikum assalam to barakatuh. My sister is joining us, mashallah. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. My other sister, alhamdulillah, brother joining us, mashallah. But I just wanted to mention that because you can't just sweep this under the rug. Now, all that's going on, in Philly with the looting, that don't have nothing to do with that killing. People just taking advantage and acting a stupid fool. And it's a shame that the anger is not directed towards the one that are responsible, but you're going to direct it towards your fellow man. You're going to direct it towards businesses. It just don't make any kind of sense. And that's why we can't get ahead, because you got idiots like that. Wa alaikum assalam to the catcher. Now, please excuse me for calling names. This is crazy. So you got people that cannot go out of their homes, in a safe manner and not have to worry about somebody doing something, silly and idiotic. Wa alaikum assalam to the catcher. He finally joined us. Welcome. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. I was just commentating a little bit about the events of earlier this week. MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah. You see what I'm wearing, right?
Oh, I like it. You need to sit up a little bit so we can see.
Oh, let's see. I'm going to chop my head off. Hold on. I'll go down a little bit. This is one of the phrases I coined, one of the words I made up, Eustuians. Eustuians, right? People always talk about what they used to do. Man, I used to, oh man, we used to. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, this is a good job, Habibi. Alhamdulillah, my wife made this shirt. And she makes shirts and, mugs and cups and all those type of things. Won't you share your website on the screen, Habibi?
Oh, I don't have a website yet, but I will shortly.
Wait a minute. You unprepared? I'm trying to give you a plug.
I got a Facebook page. I got a big Facebook page. I'll put that up. For right now, I have a Facebook page.
I'm trying to give you a plug, and you ain't ready.
Yes, well, I'm still in the beginning stage. I am ready. Listen, don't start. Hold on. Don't start.
She's in the process of reorganizing her business. Used to be Samira Designs. Now it's Sunnah Expressions. And so she made me this T-shirt right here. No, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, so here we go. That is my... well, it's under you, mashallah. That is my Facebook page. Let's see. So I do mugs like this. It says, before you sip, did you tell Allah thank you? I think I have a buyer for this. I think Sister Sakina wanted to have this. And so just like with my African handmade bags, I hand make these mugs. Here is my website. My logo, Sunnah Expressions. I also came out with some tumblers. I did one of the Kaaba. This is a double wall tumbler. And this is already spoken for, but this one is dedicated to my nurses, and I'll read this to you. It says, "Let me tell you about a nurse I know. They love their job. They advocate for their patients even when they are not their own. They double check, triple check orders given to them. They care and have genuine concern about their patients even on their days off." So you want a nurse like that. Some nurse, they just come to work just for a paycheck and that's it. And they don't care about whether you're going to survive the next day, whether you're getting the proper amount of medicine or what have you. So Sooner Expressions, and this is a plug, I didn't really mean to delve into that, but Sooner Expressions is, you could say, is a Islamic form of Hallmark. You know, Hallmark provide cards and mugs and gifts. So Sooner Expressions has that same intent. So I do T-shirts. I'll be doing, baby onesies, cards. I do have a partner, Sister Nisa, mashallah. So we're gonna be doing some big things. So if you need a e-gift, want to have something sentimental from Islamic, perspective, I am that person for you. Okay, so mashallah, make dua for my business and may it be successful. I mean, so visit my page, like it, share it. Mashallah. Now this right here, my sister Nisa got this for me. She surprised me. And this is a garment that she gave me. I thought it was something wrong with the holes. I'm so silly. I was like, why is there holes in there? Somebody don't know how to sew, right? Then I realized it's for my thumbs to go through. So alhamdulillah, I love it. It's my favorite color rather. And alhamdulillah, she thought about me. So, so alhamdulillah. Companionship is good. But anyway, to the show. Oh, and I have another sister here, Zainab Black. She, I bought her niqabs and some overgarments. And I have that on my page. So if you want to support that sister, go support her as well. Listen to her, Sakina. She said bye. But yeah, I'm slow like that sometimes. But yes, if you need T-shirts or anything like that, please support a sister. You supporting yourself when you support a sister. Okay? We always complain about we don't have enough Muslim, businesses to support. Here is one. And yes, I may go back to my bags, my handmade bags. So that may be on the, on the board as well. But right now I'm doing something new. Please support me. And let's get this dawah, because this is about dawah. We want to show how beautiful Islam can be. You always see sayings from other religions. Like I saw a saying, don't try me, try Jesus, right? So I want to flip it and say, you want, I don't have a saying, but if you want to be happy, try Islam. And I know that's kind of corny, but I'm just saying I want to show it from an Islamic perspective, giving dawah. So that's all it's about. But anyway, shukran. So at the topic at hand, the imam is going to, lead the way on this topic. And I'll leave the floor to you.
What if I don't feel like talking? Our brother Imad, he said in the comments, he said, I don't ever see you in a T-shirt. If you see me outside in a T-shirt, that means doing some manual labor, like I'm working or something like that. The only reason I'm wearing it now is because I'm trying to advertise, my wife's work. So that's why I'm wearing it now, alhamdulillah. So tonight's topic, and I guess I could use my T-shirt as a good segue into it. Because I remember I used to hear a lot of brothers and sisters say certain things with regards to polygyny or polygamy. And just for definition's sake, polygamy is a general term which means plural marriage or multiple marriage. It can apply to I hear an echo. It can apply to a woman marrying more than one man, or a man marrying more than one woman. So it's a general term. Polyandry is specific to women marrying more than one man. And as we know, Islam doesn't support nor condone polyandry, even though, there's a lot of polyandrous relationships going on in the Muslim community, but that's some tea that won't be spilt today. Right. Women having more than one husband, right? But polygyny is referring to a man having more than one wife. And in Islam, a man can have up to 4 wives. Let me ask you a question. That before the coming of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the revelation of Surah Nisa, that men were allowed to marry an unlimited number of women. How many of you knew that? You knew that? Mm-hmm. Like even the the nations who followed previous prophets, they didn't have a cap or a restriction on the number of women that they could marry. And this continued up until the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, well into the time or the period in which the Quran was being revealed. How many of you knew that? So when Surah 4, verse 3 was revealed, also a few of you knew that already, because a lot of people don't know. So when Surah 4, verse 3 was revealed, there were some Muslims who had more than 4 wives. Some Muslims had 10 wives. And they would come to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam asking him what they should do. And he would tell them, like, for example, the Sahaba who had 10 wives, he would say something like, divorce 6 and keep 4. This is extremely important because in people's minds, they feel like Islam opened the floodgates for polygyny. They feel like, the Muslims done messed it up. They got these men marrying all these women when in actuality it's the other way around. Islam, when I say Islam now in this context, I'm talking about the Islam or the final form of Islam which came with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It actually restricted polygyny, the number of wives a man could marry, from unlimited to 4. When you look at chapter 4, verse 3, once again, you look at the tafsir and the hadith that go to explain that verse, you see many different examples of companions having more than 4 wives and having to divorce some of them. So alhamdulillah, I'm glad plenty of you knew that. So also, this is a good dawah piece because a lot of people have a lot of misunderstandings about Islam, even Muslims. So that's one of the misunderstandings that I wanted to at least mention. And there's a whole lot of misunderstandings with regards to polygyny, right? One of them that I wanted to talk about today is the misunderstanding with regards to the qism, or the division of time and maintenance. The division of time and the division of maintenance. Let me ask you a question. If a man has more than one wife, does he have to spend equally on all of his wives? That's the question. Now, Habiba, I know you know the answer, so you can't answer. But I want to wait to see what people have to say. But you feel free to unmute your mic while people answer, because I know people there's a delay from the time that we're speaking to the time that they hear it. It's almost half a minute.
We got
Zachariah.
answers.
Zachariah said no. Sharnice said no. Hen said no. Leo Daddy said it depends. For fridge breaks, any man, y'all know fun, man. Y'all know all the answers, man. Y'all know fun. Can't hear you.
Okay. Am I still echoing? Okay. Okay. When y'all say no, okay, you said it as you just asked a question. I want somebody to elaborate. Why do y'all say no? What no means? I don't understand. So we can make sure we all on the same page.
Yeah, because I asked a question. I said, does a man have to spend equally on all his wives? You joking? He think his wives ain't going to see this comment. Watch this.
You know, put the email on blast.
Matter of fact, tagged him in that comment. I'm just joking. Malik, I asked the question. I said, is it? Wa alaikum salam rahmatullah. The question I asked, I said, if a man has more than one wife, does he have to spend equally on all of his wives? That was the question. But you know, we have an intelligent crowd in here, because I didn't hear any wrong answers yet. I didn't read any wrong answers yet. A lot of people said no. Some people said it depends. It requires more than yes or no, depending on the situation. All those answers, I would say, is right. It depends. No, equitably, yeah. Because, for instance, one wife may have more expenses, such as in children, and such, whereas the other doesn't, that needs, so it's not equal. That's why I wanted to be sure that I used the word equal, because equal means same. If one house needs diapers and formula, he doesn't have to do that for the other house if it's needed, if it ain't needed. Equitably and fairly. Assalamu alaikum. I think it depends. So no. If one wife has children and the other doesn't, how can it be same equal? Alhamdulillah. They should be given according to their needs. It varies. We have the Mufti in here. Let's defer. Just play. The family size may be different and expenses. Exactly. Alhamdulillah. We got an educated audience here. Right? So no, the husband doesn't have to spend equally, but he has to take care of their needs, their necessities, and their housing. There's a caveat to that a lot of people, it flies past people's heads. Only with regards to what is necessary. Only up to what is necessary. That's the bare minimum. Obviously, I don't recommend doing the bare minimum, but he's only going to be questioned about his spending on his families according to their needs based upon the bare minimum. You know, one thing I used to hear, and I still hear some people say it, and it's funny because, I'm getting there, Malik. It's funny because sometimes you hear some people say, man, brother, like a brother be giving another brother advice. And it'd be wild sometimes, the ones that be giving advice, right? It'd be the wrong one giving advice half the time. And I'm not going to give a recent example that just happened because I think it'll be backbiting because a lot of people are standing around. But anyway, sometimes brothers say, brother, if you're going to marry more than one wife, got to treat them equally. If you buy one a box of chocolate candies, you got to buy the other one a box of chocolate candies. Got to be just. That brother don't know what he's talking about. That brother does not know what he's talking about. A box of chocolates is not a necessity. She's not going to die if you don't buy her a box of chocolates. So that's not included on the division, on the expenditure between the wives, a box of chocolate. So no, if a brother buys one wife a box of chocolate or one wife some flowers or some roses, he don't have to do the same thing for the other. He's not going to be questioned about that. Why are you so quiet over there?
I'm not quiet.
You ain't saying nothing.
I'm allowing you to talk.
Yeah, but if I keep talking, you're like, oh man, you do too much talking.
Yeah, so getting into what Brother Malik talking about, the heart, the love, right? We have this notion, mistaken notion that part being equitable has to deal with the heart. Those are two separate things. So when people look at it, they have to know what they're referring to and where they, why they come up with the, their thinking and feelings on a thing. Because, in most people's mind, they think being equitable is the heart, the money, and the time, right? The maintenance. And the heart is not included in that because the heart is something that you can't control. You're going to love who you love. You're going to love a person more than you love someone else. And this is not error, it's just a human nature. The Prophet ﷺ even, made dua, letting the Lord know, hey, this is what I'm able to control, as far as like fulfilling my duties to my wives, but my heart I can't control, and don't hold me accountable for that. So in our minds, as this, as the brother is in there, he got to be able to distinguish the two. And that's why it's so important, like we was discussing about marriage. Before you get into marriage, you got to know the rules and regulations of getting into that, because it'll save you a whole lot of heartache later. There won't be, you know, you saying later, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, if I'd have known this, I wouldn't have went into that. So seeking knowledge is so important. We belittle it, but it's a way of saving heartache. You already know what you're getting into. You make a choice. You made an informed choice. A lot of us don't make informed choice. We just jump in there. We either bribe to get in there. We either threaten to get in there. And I'm talking about the brothers. They be like, if you don't go along, you going to hell. The sister may not know what her rights are. And she's coming from a mindset of Jahiliyyah.
That's toxic femininity right there.
Yeah.
See, where you go and see, that's that toxic femininity. I want to back up a little bit because, a lot of people, they make up their own tafsir, their own commentary. Because, like, if you read verse 3 of Surah Nisa, Allah says, if you fear that you cannot be just between orphans, then marry 2, 3, or 4 women at a time. And if you fear that you cannot be just between them, then marry one. And then later on in the same surah, chapter number 4, verse number 21, verse number 129, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you will never be able to be just between wives, even if it's your ardent desire, or no matter how hard you try. So some people put them verses together and see, I even read one time where someone said, polygyny is mansukh, it's abrogated. Because it was permitted in verse 3 and it was abrogated in verse 129, right? Which makes no sense, because that means everybody was just disobeying the Quran. Everybody. Nobody was paying attention, right? But the justice being spoke about in verse 3 has to deal with the time and the time and the wealth, right? And we just touched on a little bit with regards to wealth, but the verse 129 is talking about the affairs of the heart. Like, you will never be just. And you alluded to the dua that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would often make when he would divide up his money. He would say words to the effect, "Oh Allah, this is my division based upon what I have control over. But don't blame me for that which I don't have control over." And what he was talking about was his heart. He doesn't have control over who he loves more. A lot of people forget that. Like, you can't really control who you love. Allah has the control. Allah controls the hearts, right? And so what we learn from that verse, meaning verse number 129, is that even though, we love our wives differently, that should not make us, not give wives their rights. Just because I love this one more, so I ain't gonna do nothing for this one. No, you don't work like that. You have a bare minimum that you have to provide for your wives. I heard that that toxic femininity talk coming out of y'all brothers.
That's not toxic. It's the
truth. No, it ain't the truth. It's truth from the eyes of toxic females. No brothers.
Oh, toxic?
Yeah.
Oh, toxic?
Yeah, hazmat. Toxic. Hazmat females. You can't, y'all females are so toxic, y'all can't even go over certain bridges and tunnels without clearance. You got them signs that the trucks be having on them skull and crossbones. You're so toxic, they won't let you go through the tunnel. You can hide all you want. Y'all know y'all toxic.
I'm licking my tongue at you. I'm licking my tongue at you. Anyway,
Y'all so toxic.
you know what? I done muted you.
Police keep pulling y'all over. Officer, why you pull me over? We got toxic radiation and toxic femininity detectors went off, and we tracked it down to you just to pull over. Get out the car.
Now, let me ask you this.
Huh?
How did it even get to that point? Thank you.
How did what get to what point?
We talking about we toxic. How did it get to that point?
It's the
There was a
Kufar
cause.
fault.
There was a cause. Who caused it?
The Kufar.
Okay. No.
Us Muslim men living here, we not in control of the situation, so we can't be blamed. We victims just like y'all.
No. You got to try again. Anyway, to the topic.
Mhm.
What notions you are wanting to clear up as far as the husband maintaining their family? Get a little bit more into that, since that is the topic of the evening. We're not talking about hearts. We're just talking about the responsibility of the husband. Because it's every time we talk about polygyny, it always end up, revolving around the woman. Okay, it's always around her, but that's something that the man is just as invested in, and it's more so, him. He established the pattern or established the culture. He established the ground rules of how that thing is going to work. Okay.
Not really.
Yes.
No, because some of y'all toxic females, y'all be taking control and then want to blame the man when stuff go crazy. Y'all
But
really
if
the
he
man in the
wasn't weak,
relationship.
but if he
Y'all really.
wasn't weak and not doing his
Okay, now he
job,
gotta
that
be
would
weak.
happen.
Why you gotta be weak? How come? How come he just can't? Don't know how to deal with the toxicity coming from y'all sisters.
But you see things before it's coming, so he made a choice to deal with that situation.
No,
Is
maybe he
that right?
didn't see it before it was coming.
Nah, everything has a clue, an indication,
Nah,
everything. Whether you ignore it or not.
because y'all toxic. Sometimes like poisonous gases, you can't even smell it. Like even the gas that you put in the house, right? That gas, that's not the smell. They add
gas you
that
put in
shit.
the house? What gas? What you talking about?
They add that gas, that smell to the gas, so you know that's a leak. Gas normally you can't smell it. So
Anyway,
some toxic females, you can't smell them. I mean, see them coming, right?
you do see them. You ignore it.
No. They be, batting their eyelashes, blink, blink, blink. Oh,
That's
brother,
the point.
I just
That's
want
the
to do it
point.
righteous, brother. Blink, blink, blink. I'm not going to cause any problems. I just, I like you and your dean. Blink, blink, blink. Right? That's right.
With the eyebrows, right?
I'm so innocent. I'm innocent and feminine.
Yeah, mashallah.
I'm so innocent and feminine. I want to be part of your Muslim family. Blink, blink, blink. Right?
Back to the question. The notions about the husband, we're talking about the husband now, his responsibility in the maintenance of his family.
Okay.
Okay. What notions you want to clear up?
I just cleared up the notion, one notion that, or one false notion that a lot of brothers, a lot of us, have been taught that, we have to spend equally, same, in everything. On one level, right? But
Okay.
most of the people listening here is educated, so they know that that's not true. It don't even make sense, really, because the family sizes may be different, etc. Right? But on top of that, another false notion that's built upon that false notion is the fact that one, if the brother, if he when he spends beyond his necessity, then the family's necessities, that he has to be same.
Mm.
You know, like for example, I gave example box of chocolates or some roses or some flowers. Bought one rose, bought another one of rose. You don't have to do that.
Let me put you on the hot seat. I got some questions for you then.
I ain't getting no hot seat. I'm out.
I got a question for you because we're going to keep it real tonight. Come on
I'm out.
back.
Bye.
Come on back. So the brother is supposed to.
That's right. You see, Imam Amin said, Imam Naeem, the Sheikh of the broke brother. That's right.
The brother is supposed to maintain the number of wives that he had, whether it's 1, 2, or what have you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Equitably, right? So where's this wealth supposed to come from?
Come from the women. I'm the Sheikh of the broke brothers. like, right? Like, I'm about to get married another sister, right? And I need you to give me the money for the dowry, Habibi. I need you to pay for that.
Listen, stop, because that's a notion that's been going on too long. Where is this wealth supposed to come from?
However he makes his wealth.
How he makes his wealth?
Yeah.
Give me some examples.
Section 8, welfare, food stamps.
No.
His job, his wealth, or however he got his wealth, inheritance, whatever, however he makes his money, his income.
Right? From his wealth, right? From his wealth, by halal means, right? It got to be halal.
Right.
Right? Can't be no drug money, right?
Right.
Can't be from riba, right?
Right.
Right? So, if that's the case, and he's supposed to do that by that means, how did it go from that? And then you have broke brothers having all these wives. Like, how did they get into that? How did they get into that situation?
Huh? That's your sisters. Y'all agreed to it.
No. How did it get to that point?
Y'all agreed to it.
Because we agreed to it.
Did the brother put a gun in your head and say, listen, I ain't got no money and you going to deal with this or I'm going to pull the trigger?
Listen, should she agree to that?
That's their business.
The point. That's the point. Mm-hmm. That's their business. There's no cookie cutter how it's supposed to be. But the understanding is her section, if she had, because we keep looking at the people by what they possess. There's people that, are on, public assistance. That's not something new, right? But we always, refer back to that when we talk about polygyny, right? Mm-hmm. So if she's in that situation, he meets her like that. Why she's still on that? Why he there? Answer that.
And say that last part again.
If she's on public assistance and he comes into that situation, why she's still in that same state? Why they together and after if it happens to end? Why is that the case? There's a breakdown somewhere.
Kufar's fault.
What?
It's the Kufar's fault.
We need to get out this welfare mentality. If a brother comes to a sister, right? They both got their uncles, right? They're same. Uh-huh. They understand. If she's on public assistance, that brother coming in need to work where she's not on that no more.
See, that's that toxic femininity.
No.
Y'all don't want to take responsibility. y'all women, y'all toxic females be raising these little boys coddling, right? Not teaching them no responsibility and having your little daughters being responsible, getting good grades at school, but let the little boy cut up, fail, and coddle him. Don't teach him no accountability. And then you complain about men or brothers marrying sisters marrying brothers that's exactly like the son that y'all raised. Not accountable, not responsible, not not no. You can't have it both ways. You toxic sister.
Who's responsible for that? Who's responsible for that? The boys not being raised up to be men. Whose responsibility is that?
Y'all women, y'all toxic women.
Nah, bruh, nah. That male child had two parents. He ain't coming here but by one. Two parents. That's their responsibility. We be so.
I agree, right? But I know what the media says and all that kind of stuff. But from what I be seeing from people I know, I don't know too many brothers who are not active raising their children, male or female. And the ones who are not active in there is usually because they've been kept away or forced away.
That's true. That's true.
I can't think of an oddball here and there who has children and don't want to be involved in their lives or whatever like that. But I'm talking about the people I know. They either are actively involved in their children's life, not just giving money, but raising, or they want to be and they're being prevented from it.
So how can we break this cycle, this chain of babying, raising these baby boys in our ummah? How do you break that cycle?
I think we have to stop tolerating all the way around the board. Like, for example, and I advocate this all the time, like a lot of times when a sister gets married, for example, right? She's been married before, she has children. Most of the time when she gets married and she has children, nobody asks the question, where's the children's father at? Okay, he Muslim or y'all was married? Okay, that, the custody got to change when you marry this next brother, right? Nobody has that conversation. So a lot of times our Muslim communities are enabling that stuff. We practice some sunnah, but not all of it.
Yeah.
She's married. She's not supposed to have custody of them children.
I agree right here what Sister says. The older brothers need to mentor sons of single sisters. There are so many single sisters with male children. So many. They come to the masjid. They come to the masjid, and we got to get out this mind that just thinking about yourself. I'm just coming here, coming to Juma, make my prayers, and I'm out. If you are part of a community, you should be concerned of those that are there, whether you have children or not. And I think that's where the breakdown comes from, because if there is no examples for them, talking about the male children, what a man is truly supposed to be made out of, then you're going to get these little boys and men drawers making adult decisions that they're not ready to handle and don't have the mental capacity to deal with such situation. So it's a communal responsibility. Yes, it starts from those parents, because they came together and brought this child into the world by Allah's permission. But we don't think far ahead. We just think about the moment, just to get together. That's it. You don't go no further than that. You don't think about that child having to grow older. You don't have to think about that child, going to be on their own. You don't think about none of that. And so it's just about you and that person. And that's very selfish. Very, very selfish. And
that's why it's always important. We always talking about communities, in our communities. Like when it comes to subject like this, like we think, we we're very short sighted. Like we always talk about, we need money, we need to build our communities, and people be like, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever, right? And then, but when situations like this happen, like you need mentors, well, you need a community to be in place for that to happen, right? And
right.
The center of our community is the masjid. The rest of the other aspects of the community grow out from that. So if our masjid is just, okay, salats and Juma, how much community life is that? And if you don't know somebody, if you only see them once a week on Juma, you don't know if you want that brother mentoring your child.
Right. Right. So that means, and this is a ideal situation. No situation is perfect. No community is perfect. But everybody has a role. Like I had mentioned a comment at on the Imams Roundtable the other night. And I said, everybody has a role. Everybody doesn't have to be doing the same thing. Everybody don't have to be a teacher. And I'm talking about like the ones that have to actually teach. Of course, you got to teach your family, make sure you learn, but everybody has a role. And in order to do that, everybody has their niche and they're going to perfect that and be, strong in that. So if like you have some people that are in the community, they may be into sports, right? And they have to mentor their players, right? They have to coach them and teach them the rules and things like that. So if you know someone that has that type of position, they're good as a role model for the most part to mentor, children. But you got to be careful these days because we got people in here, they use those positions and take advantage of our children. So it's like a double-edged sword. You got to know who you're dealing with. And that's why you need to be active so you can get to know this person and their personality and develop this rapport so that you can entrust your children. You still got to watch. Never be like, all right, I'm just going to leave you to them. I think they're good. No, you still got to be watched. You still got to be shepherded. But at the same time, everybody has strengths in certain areas in which that can be employed to, pass on to the next generation. Because what you know now, somebody in your area should know that same thing so they can pass it on, whether it be your family member or not, someone in your community. You got skills in certain areas, you should seek out to teach somebody else because you're going to die one day. Okay. And your knowledge is going to stop with you. You don't want your knowledge to stop with you. For one, especially if it's Islamic knowledge, you still get rewarded in the grave when that knowledge that you taught someone else is still spread. So you only benefiting yourself. So if it's something that's beneficial, you'll still get rewarded for it. A good knowledge, okay? Not bad, but good. But and then at the same time, if you don't have the skill, find out what someone else has, whatever skills that they have, and hone into that and develop a relationship. Like for me, I love to network. Okay. I love to network, with women that are smarter than me, that may be in a different field than I would have been, have been exposed to. It's fascinating to me. And so that helps me to, recognize certain things in my life and seeing and how I can do things differently. I'm always watching and I appreciate those women. They don't even know. I'm watching real hard. And so with my daughters,
I know you're always watching, by the way. I just have to add that in there.
My daughters, I want them to watch me and show and see, listen, even though you may, get a speed bump, you might run into a speed bump, a wall, you don't stop. That's just been my personality. And so I want them to develop that characteristics because giving up is not an option. And so as a community, we don't want nobody to fall short, even if it's not your child. They don't have to be your child. You should still want that child to do good. Ask about their day. What are they thinking about? What do they talk? What's going on in their head? Talk to them. We need each other. That's what's just going to make this community strong, whatever community that you belong to. It's not a boys' club. It's not somewhere you hang out. It's a place of nurturing and growth because it doesn't stop with you. SubhanAllah. So, we just have to learn people, and not everybody can do the role. Everybody's not meant for that. You got some people that's just there to take advantage. Like I see somebody here, the problem with these with these men trying to mentor a child. What he said, mentor
a child of a single sister
will more than likely cause issues at the home because of the fear of him taking a second what?
Second wife.
Second wife. Okay, second wife. But see, my opinion on that.
See, you got quiet there, right?
No, what I was
Right,
going to
right.
say.
No, right now. Matter of fact, I think I know a young brother that's, mother single, needs some mentoring. I'm going to step
Listen,
up. How you
no,
feel about that?
what I wanted to say, okay, he want to take a second wife. So what?
Well, right for who? She got discombobulated for a second, right for who?
You didn't allow me to finish. So what? That's not the point. If he's there sincerely trying to teach his son, why is that even an issue? He may not even look at the situation like that. He generally wants to teach upright, raise and mentor, help mentor that child. You understand? And he shouldn't have really any dealings with the mom. It should be limited contact to even for that to fall into that. You understand? So we
You
just
seem
got
like you got kind of upset there. He said, I wish you let me finish. You got that.
just talking about I got when you mentioned that when you say white, I'm just saying like what they got to do with it.
You said limited contact. I mean, this is the real world. What mother's just going to say, "Here, they deal with my son," and she not know the brother, nobody know the. There's gonna be some contact.
Limited contact. I'm talking about they in the same area by themselves, fraternizing. You understand?
Oh, you mean like color seclusion? Okay,
right. That's what I'm talking about. When you have in those situations, yes, something may want to jump off because you done confine yourself to that. I'm saying following proper protocol. You are in public. You at the masjid. You are with around other people or appropriate, people that's around.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is not always got to be about marriage, about being attracted to the person or anything like that. Especially especially how you deal with the person.
Mm-hmm.
The sisters, and sometimes they don't know when they're dealing with a brother, their feminine side comes out and they don't mean to, and that person may take it like she want me. That's just being her. So sometimes you got to be like, no, brother, keep it, just keep it, boom, boom, boom. I don't want him have any mistaken, thinking anything going on here. Sometimes we got to catch ourselves. But some people, sisters, they don't know that. So they be batting their eyes and raising their voice and, being real Joe. That's not proper. But sometimes they don't know. So
you said being real Joe. We don't live in Philly no more.
Yes. So what? I still use that word, real Joe. Okay?
I use it once in a while too.
But you understand? But we do have to, stop thinking in the bubble and just thinking about us. We are trying to build communities. We're trying to strengthen our future generations. We're not going to be able to do that if we're not looking out for the next one. And they got to be sincere. Only Allah can see your heart, but you got to be sincere to be able to pull that off. If you're not sincere, it ain't going to go but so far. And that's what anybody. Anyway, what did I miss in the comments?
I want to go back. You was about to go in a direction. Now it slipped my mind. SubhanAllah.
Slip your mind.
That inside joke.
There are only so much hands-off influence you can have. Brothers are not security guards. Hands-off, I don't know what that is. Love for your sisters and brothers, what you love for yourself. Yes, we should have.
Anissa said, real Joe cool. Well, I heard like real Joe familiar.
Yeah, real Joe familiar. Oh my goodness. There was another term. I can't think of it right now. But yeah, so we establish the notions about the maintenance, right? Being equitable, right?
Mm-hmm.
And equitable don't mean the heart, the money, and the time. Just the time and the money, the finances, right?
I know where you was about to go. You seem like you was about to go in the direction of how everybody has like this cookie cutter type of idea about marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Am I correct?
Okay. Yeah, I was. Yeah, because I was talking about these sisters, they be on certain level, why they still be on that same level. And you went on and talking about some toxic femininity stuff.
I was just messing with you.
What you about to say?
I was just messing with you. I mean, you're not that toxic. I mean, you made this T-shirt, alhamdulillah.
So do you agree about that as far as like, and I'm sure you do. I'm just being asking you this rhetorical question that
Mhm.
each marriage is different as far as when it comes to the maintenance.
Of course. And I also wanted to deal with that for a second because it goes to a lot of different areas.
Mm.
And because one sister asked a question way up there, I'm pretty sure I can't even find it. But it was way earlier. Because a lot of times people uh, they wonder like, how can a brother have more than one wife? Like for example, one wife is in one country and the other wife is in another country. How is he dividing up his time equally? Because you found it.
Yes, I'm the bomb.
I wonder how these brothers that lived abroad and say they want another wife, how does the time get divided in that case? How do they establish the relationship since it's all new? Well, every situation is different, but this is actually more common than you think. A lot of, especially here, because a lot of people, Muslims from overseas, come here, and a lot of times they have a wife back home and they have a wife here, and it's clear that they're not spending equal time here and there. It's everybody agrees, everybody understands what it is. See, a lot of times that uh, we think the bare minimum is the way it has to be. Okay, you have to spend equal time here and there. Yes, that's the right, but the people in the marriage can agree to something different. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think that's a little nuance that a lot of people miss, especially in these social media groups when they talking and debating and arguing about marriage or what should be or what shouldn't be. If all the parties involved agree to a situation, that's permissible. And and we have examples of that from the Sunnah. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Because you always quote it.
I forgot. It slipped my mind.
Slipped your mind. Sauda, radiallahu ta'ala anha.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The wife of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, she gave her time to Aisha, right? She gave up her time because she was getting older, and she didn't want him to divorce. She didn't want him to divorce her because she was getting older. So that was her way to appease him because all the wives knew that the Prophet Sallallahu favored Aisha. May Allah be pleased with her and Sauda in that manner. And so she was willing to give that up. But the thing about it is we have to look at that situation through an Islamic lens, not through our lens and our lack of understanding. She was married to the Prophet Sallallahu. You understand? That's not just any man. So for him to be the prophet, you want to be in any way you can. There was people that want to be in with him so bad that when he made wudu, you know what I mean? Or he sweated. They used to collect that stuff because they wanted to be a part of him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So to be married to the prophet, that's like the ultimate upgrade. And she didn't want to lose that. Now I don't know if the Prophet ﷺ considered, putting her to the side, divorce her. I don't know, but she felt I'm getting older. Let me appease him, but I still want to be married to him, and that was sufficient for her. And she wasn't doing anything wrong, and he wasn't being oppressive or doing any injustice. And he couldn't because he's the Prophet ﷺ. He's truthful, he's trustworthy, and he relayed the message. So he's undermine or undermine the sister out of her right. So mashallah. So yes, we have to look at these situations that it don't have to be cookie cutter, like it's got to be exact. Another notion that's not really about this that I see all the time, and it really like messes with me. Sisters say the brother only can marry if the women are widows. That's the only reason why he can marry her. She's widow. Some other stuff. You ever heard of that? Like it got to be a reason why he takes a wife. She can't be young and beautiful and just wanting to have a new wife. It's got to be some kind of handicap, if you want to say it that way.
Yeah, a
about
lot of times.
them to take her
Yeah,
in.
and people do that with a lot of other issues. They take people's commentary on what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did and make that an obligation or a requirement in Islam. Like some contemporary writer may say, yeah, except for Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, all of the wives that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam married were widows. So they take that leap from that observation and say, well, if a brother wants to marry another wife, they have to be widows. Nowhere does it say that.
Aisha wasn't a widow.
Right.
So see how you make up your own whole tafsir things,
Yeah.
own rulings, own fatwas.
They just completely forget about, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam actually married Sauda before he married Aisha. So even if you try to run with that logic and try to build a case on it, you can't, because it wasn't like Aisha was the first wife. It was Khadijah, then she passed and he didn't have any wives. Then he married Sauda, who was a widow, then he married Aisha. So even if you try to run with that idea, it don't work. Can't hear you.
Said yes, each couple needs the flexibility. It's flexible, needs to be flexible to identify their own type of marriage as long as it's in the agreement with the sacred law. So they have to communicate. That is so important. I think that's where some brothers err. They don't communicate to their wives. Expectation. Not that he got explained, but he don't communicate.
It's your fault. You know why I'm messing with you like this on this show, right?
Why are you messing with me?
Because every other type of show, everything's the brother's fault. So I'm just, today, y'all getting it today. It's your fault. Y'all toxic. Can't communicate with y'all. Why? Because y'all going to have a fit.
So,
and we love y'all toxic behinds. So we don't want y'all to have a fit. So we just don't communicate. We just do what we do.
nah, it's the way you communicate. You understand?
What way to communicate? What way?
You got to communicate.
Okay. I'm about to marry another sister. How would you want me to communicate that to you?
How you want me to? I want to
know. Okay. How do you want to know?
How do I want to know? I
when
want to
do
know.
You want to know?
I personally, this is not for anybody else. I want to know in the early stages. Early. I don't know what happened. But anyway, I want to know early.
If I'm about to marry another wife, how would you want me to communicate that to you?
I want to know. I want you to say there is a possibility I may be remarrying again. I'm just letting you know. All and right. I would do that in a nice manner. I would do that in a gentle manner. Mm-hmm. Right?
So I got point number one. You want to know early, right?
Yep. Right. Just let me know, right? Mm-hmm. Then I'm gonna need some more information. I want to know if that sister got her mental, physical test done. You understand? STD, all that. I want that early. Because you involving somebody in this family, so I want to know that, and I want to know the results.
You heard what she said? She wants to know STD results, mental health diagnosis, disclosure. She want all of that.
Yep.
She want proof of a clean bill of health. Do y'all brothers and sisters agree? I'm writing that down.
This is for me. I ain't speaking for nobody else.
All right, I'm asking if they agree with you. That's all. I'm just writing down.
Right? Okay. Then I want to know. That's really not my business. This is the discretion of the brother. Whoever coming in, are they going to wreak havoc to the existing household, or are they going to bring harmony?
Hold up. That would even make sense. If the brother knew that, he wouldn't be marrying her. Like if she was going to bring drama and bring havoc, I would assume a decent
No,
brother
you
wouldn't be
can't assume
marrying
that.
her.
No, you cannot assume that. There's too many stories of that. No.
So you mean to tell me
This is
that
not for me. I'm talking about for the brother. He has to know. He know how his wife is, right?
mhm,
He's bringing someone in there. He needs to recognize that this person going to add to their family or is going to cause any, rifts in that family. He got to know that himself. That's not really for me as a wife, but I'm just saying as for him. Because when it gets started and he goes into that situation and then that wife go through hell because of this person, who's to blame? And then y'all sit here with a stupid face.
I'm trying to make a list.
My list. It's not gonna be on there.
I'm trying to make a list of how you want to be communicated to in the event that I marry another wife.
Okay,
So,
but I'm
and I
saying,
got witnesses here.
okay.
I got witnesses here. So when you start acting a fool, I'm gonna pull out the list and the
Okay.
video.
But
I did what you wanted.
listen, but but listen though, that don't mean nothing. I still may act a fool.
At least you admit it. At least you admit it.
That don't mean nothing. But if you care for me, you're gonna tell me. If you care, you will communicate.
But a lot of times, brothers don't communicate the way you describe because they care for their wives.
Right. Ooh, those comments are going. Alhamdulillah, y'all participate. That's just for me. You understand? So there's no right time or anything like that. That's why.
Hold on. I'm curious. Like you mentioned, like the sexually transmitted diseases. I want to know what sisters think about that. I know everybody that's already married right now will agree with you, but I want to hear from the sisters that are not married. Like, say, for example, you were about to marry a brother who's already married. How would you feel if he said, listen, before we proceed any further, my wife wants to see the results of your, STD screening. How would you feel about that?
You're crazy. Nah, I don't have to see it. I trust him. You should trust your spouse. But anyway, before
wait a minute. Hold up. Wait a minute.
They ain't answer
Do
yet.
I got to pull your card?
Listen. You ain't got to pull my card. I'm trying to establish something. Before it even get there, before y'all even married, this discussion should have been had. You understand? Because a person know if they want to be in a relationship or a marriage that the man is eventually he's going to participate in that. So this need to be discussed. And if that's going to be a problem, then y'all should have got married, in my opinion. Allah knows best. But I don't think that's even an excuse. But you just should know in your back of your head that might be something that he wants to pursue. But he got to have knowledge of that thing. He needs to be educated. We be getting into situations and we're not educated about the situation, and we want to be educated through the situation as we going through it. No. That's where things mess up. You want to be educated while you're going through. You may be causing, heartache to that sister because you don't know that you're supposed to do certain things. You understand? And she's like not understanding, and you can't even explain why you're supposed to do certain things, so you don't do it. So you're not being just to her and the one that's coming in. Please explain what you mean by early, as in what would you consider the earliest point possible? Earliest point possible is like before you get married. That should be established before you get married.
No, I think he means.
I know. I'm talking about in stages. You say it beforehand. You make it established. I may want to get another wife, right?
No,
And
we're
then,
not talking about that. We talk about he's thinking about marrying a particular sister.
but I have to establish this point because there may be a sister that don't want to be in polygamy in the beginning before they get married. You need to establish that
You getting kind of hyped there, Habibi.
because you're not listening.
I am listening.
No, I'm saying that it's important because we're trying to jump from here to here. Okay,
I'm just asking the question.
I am answering it. So before you get,
Hold on, hold your thought. Hold your thought. I got a question right now.
Can I answer the question?
Are you the cause of my eye acting up? I just want to know. Did you beat me up while I was sleeping? Or you said yeah? You admit it?
So listen, before y'all get married, it should be established that you're going to have the possibility and not coming in here. No, I ain't gonna never get married to another sister. You lying to yourself and you lying to her. Just put it out there. Boom. It's already established, right? When you in the situation, right? Because depending on how y'all been communicating, when you in the situation, you understand, it's had already been established on the outside. Like we said, every marriage is different. Maybe you get married to a person and they say, yeah, I understand that you can have more than one wife. I'm talking about from a sister's point of view. But listen, give me this amount of time. It's up to him whether he said, okay, I'm going to do that or whatever. He ain't really got to follow through. But if he cares and he understands where that sister's coming from, he is going to oblige by that, right? Because we already know it's inevitable. So when it does happen, early before when you start talking, because who knows, who says that you're going to actually marry that sister? Okay? You don't want to tell the sister right when you want to tell her up front, I may be marrying this sister. Some brothers may say, well, I'm not saying that until I really know I'm going to marry this sister. I want to know at least that there is something for that. You understand? I want to know that there's something going on. So I don't feel like you're sneaking around. You're having conversations on the phone. You're acting funny because y'all brothers be acting a certain way when you around us. You want to dispel those suspicions. That's the point of telling me. Man, can you please get an answer for me? There is no clear-cut answer. There is no clear-cut answer. You want to communicate. That's why it's so important.
So you said all that to say, first you said, I want to know early.
Right?
And so we're trying to get a definition of what early is. Now you say there's no clear-cut answer. Will you make up your mind? You see how these women act when you talk about polygamy? You don't know what the answer is. I ain't trying to hear nothing you say. I'm marrying 2 wives tomorrow, and I ain't telling you nothing. You find out when you...
All that screaming. There is no clear cut. The point is, it should have been communicated all along. One thing that brothers do is they make this whole, listen, you married to me, but every conversation we have is about polygyny. I'm not getting married. I'm not getting married. So why are we having a conversation about polygyny every time we talk?
Because we want to make sure you're cool with it.
Every time we talk?
No, I don't recommend that.
No. That's what I'm pointing. Every time we talk, it's about that. Do you think that's healthy for the current marriage?
Nah, I don't. That's my opinion. I don't.
Thank you. So the way you communicate is so important. And we be setting ourselves up and wondering why things go a certain way. That's my point. I said for me, I want to know early. You may not agree with that. You wait till whatever, and I just have to deal with it, right? But you got to know who you with. You got to know that person.
Let me ask you a question. Right? I meet a sister tomorrow. However I meet her. And we start, considering marriage to each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you want to know?
I want to know early. I want to know who he is.
You want to know tomorrow?
I want to know.
I don't even know if I'm going to marry her yet.
It don't
We can
matter.
start talking about marriage tomorrow in this hypothetical example.
She
You
is
want to know
coming.
and I don't even know yet?
Listen, she's coming into our family. I want to know who that is. I want to know who that is. And there's maybe things that you don't see that I can tell you.
You sure will.
I'm serious.
I know you're serious.
I'm serious.
I know.
Because y'all be blind. Y'all be all, enamored by whatever. And there'll be stuff right there. And you just simply miss. And then when that thing that you done overlook come into the situation, now you're looking stupid. And then you're like, well, I didn't know. Well, I told you. Well, I didn't see it. So it didn't count. So when do my consultation, is valid? When it's not dealing with your other wife? You understand? When is it not valid? Because you should be consulting with me. Not that I make any final decisions, but I should have some say because that person is coming into my family, especially if I have children and stuff. If they have children, this is a family matter. So you can't just compartmentalize. Okay, I'm just getting married and she just gonna have to deal with it. No, that person is coming to your family.
But maybe in some brother's mind, we could be thinking that your jealousy is going to cloud your judgment in this affair. Normally, you give good advice, but this issue is a little bit too close to home, so your jealousy might cloud your vision, your insight.
Okay, but if that's the case, that's why he need to investigate. Look at it from his angle if he needs to a certain way. He heard that brother hear what his wife is saying. You understand? He proceeds, but then he have in the back of his mind, you know what? She's given me good advice before. I'm gonna, I'm gonna take her advice. I'm not gonna tell her that I'm gonna take her advice, but I'm watching, and you go and you proceed from there. Who said it's actually going to happen?
To me, that's the gray area. Like for me personally, in my mind, if I met someone, like my life, the way I think, I don't know if brothers think like this, but in my mind, if I'm thinking about marrying someone, I wouldn't in my mind, I wouldn't really want to really disclose it, whatever, unless I made up my mind, okay, I'm definitely married this person. I feel like I'm compatible. I'm married. I would feel kind of like, what's that little story? The boy who cried wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Like Habibi, I'm thinking about marrying this sister. Then I talked up like, nah, she ain't for me. Habibi, never mind, I ain't gonna marry that sister. Right? you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I'm seeing a whole lot of comments in the all types of view.
Put some up there.
Brothers need to fear Allah more than their wives, but be compassionate in their handling polygyny. However, the sister of interest should not be left in the hanging. How is a sister of interest should be not left hanging? Explain some more of that, Sophia. What do you mean by that? Yeah, I have to agree. You can't just ask for a divorce because you don't want to be in it. That's not valid. That's not valid in the Sharia.
What are you talking about? What am I missing?
The sister said, can women get divorced if they truly don't want to be in polygyny? I wouldn't want to be in that situation to ask for a divorce because the woman that asks for a divorce will not get to smell the fragrance of Jannah unjustly. Like they don't have a real right to do that. Your jealousy is not a condition to. It's not a reason or valid reason to get a divorce. That's not That's not a reason. But I will say this. Sometimes brothers that get into polygyny, they want to throw the sisters together and make them BFF. Sometimes it ain't gonna work like that. You need to allow them to develop their own friendship, because you doing that, and they may have different personalities and such. You just want to cause more fitna. Some sisters, they automatically mesh with one another. Some people are not like that. So allow them to grow, and don't look down on the sister that's not really trying to be friendly with the sister. She don't really want to deal with her. If that's her way of coping, allow her to be that. But you at the same time have to love her. In the meantime, that's still your wife. And this is where you got to balance. You done decide to get in this situation, you're going to have to deal with it. And you're going to have to be just. And when you're dealing justly, even with your heart, you can't allow one feel like, a certain way, like I'm not really your wife. You got to make them both feel like they're your wives. So you made that bed, you got to lay in it, as they said. You gotta what they say, make that bed and lay in it. And so you got to figure that out. I mean, if the brother has stated his interest, the sister he is interested in should not have to wait a long time to get married, or maybe never get married because the brother is afraid of his reaction, threats to leave her. No, she shouldn't have to wait a long time. She shouldn't have to wait a long time. I agree with that. But then at the same time, I don't know, it's a gray area. Him expressing to the sister of interest, my wife, she's feeling the kind of way. How do you feel about it? Because he should include you in that conversation and get your thoughts. You may feel like, well, I understand where she's coming from. And, inshallah, Allah would bless our family and, make dua and, she wish good for the sister. That should be her reaction. Like, I don't care about her feelings. She gonna have to deal with it. You my man. You gonna be my man now. No, come in here like that. Don't come in here like that. What other comments, Habibi? Some sisters threaten that he won't have access. I don't agree with that. Then don't marry into nor come in as a second wife and act brand new. I agree. Don't marry into it, nor come in as a second wife and act brand new. Yep. You be like, yeah, I'm pro-polygyny, got the flag, got the Dewey button. And you coming in there, and then when he about to take another one, wait a minute, hold up. I ain't signed up for that. Yes, I told that. I ain't signed up for that. Wait. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. You came on in, then give that next sister coming in, give her due too. Brothers do not want the type of woman with the competitive approach. I agree.
But sometimes some of these women are sneaky. They come in talking this big love, big family stuff. Then when they get in there, they be like, you need to get rid of the other one. I'm here now.
SubhanAllah. Sister Anissa said, if you feel you don't include her in the conversation, you got something to hide or you don't care about her feelings. I agree. Her feelings matter. Marriage is for Allah. We don't own one another. That's true. Yep, sneaky. Salam alaikum. Let me see here. Hold on. We got a long comment here, Habibi. Assalamu alaikum. What if her brother married a sister and told her it would only be her, but then later in the marriage decides he wants to marry another wife? Says you told her you would not take another wife, and it angers her. But I should have never have told her that because this was something the law said was permissible. Can you help me with this issue? answer that, brother. Answer that, brother.
No, I was reading another comment. That's why I was laughing.
Well, answer this one. Stop trying to avoid this question.
I always advise against it, because a lot of times brothers, boo love too hard. That's a Philly term, boo love, right? They're like, I ain't thinking about nobody else but you, baby. You marry somebody. Am I planning on marry somebody? No, it's just you, man. I ain't think marry nobody, just you, man. How can I marry somebody else and I got you, right? Little extra thing. And after you get married, she took that. She meant it, man. You thought you was carefully, weaving your words together, saying, I ain't thinking about nobody else or whatever. You like, I didn't say I would never do that. It don't matter what you said. That's how she interpreted it. That's how she took it. And so now you in the marriage and you want to marry someone else. She looking at you like you betrayed her. You lied to her. You was being sneaky. That's how she interprets that. So, my advice is never do that. Don't even come close to, even saying anything that could be possibly perhaps misconstrued to mean that she's, always going to be the only one, So, don't do that, because no matter what you say or how you said it or how carefully you chose your words, a lot of times that's how sisters are going to interpret that. And so, so someone who already made that mistake and is in a situation, I would just advise that, just be honest, like with me, I'm trying to develop the principle with myself. And this not only goes with wives, but it also goes with children, right? This principle that I'm trying to develop in myself is that I'd rather you hate me now than hate me later. In other words, like sometimes our children, want to do what they want to do. And if you prevent them because you're an adult, you know better, you got the experience of life behind you. If you stop them from doing it, they're going to hate you now. But if they live to get older, they'll love you for that same thing, because as the experience comes, they'll be like, ooh, Umi, Abby, ooh, I hated them when it happened, but I think Allah that they did what they did, and they'll love you for it. And even my own situation, when I think about because my father was a strict one, and when he laid down the law and wouldn't let me do this, and all the other kids was doing all crazy stuff, and he wouldn't let me do that. I hated him when it was happening, right? But now I love him for it, So that's a principle that I'm trying to develop in myself. I'd rather you hate me now than hate me later.
I was looking at the comments here.
Hey, you see what Imam Amin said?
Yeah, see? I said I'm looking at the comments. We'll go back up to
Hey.
No, but for real.
I'm trying to get paid. I'm following Imam Amin now, so now I should be coming into the money. So my followers are your followers. So now we ain't on the Broke Brothers Club no more.
I think that I don't know how that would work, but like we were talking about mentoring the boys, the male children, the brothers need to be mentored too when they come into that situation.
Right.
So that they know, because sometimes they don't know. And women can be emotional. They don't know how to deal with that. Usually men just shut down. And so they don't mean to be that way, but that's just how they deal with things. They just shut down and they don't communicate it no more. And they think that's going to solve the problem. It doesn't. It's still there. Sister said, let's see here. Yeah, I agree with you, Khalifa, on that matter. We got to be careful picking hadiths and say, here, look, this makes it permissible for me to do X, Y, Z. You can't just make it general. because certain things that happened in the Sunnah was for those specific situation, and because we don't live in a country where we have qadis and all that stuff to make judgments, we have to be careful with that. That's where people be messing up. That's why they get that 30-day mints, 30-day
It does.
because they take one issue and then just like, oh, this is good for everybody. It's easy to laugh and joke about. We all know the sunnah of polygyny, but it still hurts. MashaAllah.
Can you speak to that?
Yes, I could speak to that. It does hurt. But you know what? It hurts when you forget Allah in a situation. That's when it hurts. Because usually when you're emotional, you feeling hurt because of you. But when you see as it being something that Allah had ordained, then it becomes unpersonable. It doesn't become personable. For instance, we'll get mad if somebody called me a B, or they do something to me personally. We hot, we bothered, we want to jump them, we want to do all this. But when somebody says something about Allah and His Messenger, or they do something real foul, we don't get mad. We just say, well, that's their choice, that's their dumbness. But we'll get so riled up when it's personally something that happens to you. And we got to find balance in that. Like my advice, okay, because when I became, married to the Imam, I came in as a second wife. I didn't know anything about polygyny. But I didn't come into the mindset that I want to take over and get his, existing wife out the way. I didn't come into that. I wanted a husband. I wanted, him to teach me. I wasn't concerned about being taken care of because I was making my own money at the time. I had my own place. I was good. So the mindset, it was different. You have to purify your intentions. What are your intentions in the situation? You understand? Coming in and the one that's existing. The sister that's coming in, don't come in there thinking that you in there because you look better or you can do better than the existing wife. That's not your place, and that's not why you there. Don't come in there like, oh, now everything is good. No, you coming in there to share a family. Y'all coming together in a beautiful union. We got to remember, Allah ordained this, and it's beautiful, and it's perfect. It's the people that makes it ugly, and it's the people that adulterate it. It's the people that makes it like, I don't want nothing to do with that. That's something beautiful. So you're saying that Allah made a mistake? You saying that Allah didn't know what He was doing when He limited the number of wives for the husband? Because before it was unlimited. We gotta remember, who ordained this? It wasn't the brothers. It was Allah. So when you don't put Allah first and you looking to please Him and you put all your attention towards Him, nothing else matters. So those sisters that are like, I don't know how to deal with that. That's my advice. Get more into your Lord. Because I'm sure that you're not doing everything you should be doing to be concerned about Him. I promise you that. And once you do that, you'll see a whole difference. You'll look at things differently. It won't bother you because your whole energy is not directed to that situation. But what you gonna say, ma'am?
I want you to elaborate because you have experience. Because a lot of times, like when a sister is coming into a marriage with a brother that's already married, she can deal with polygyny. But a lot of times that same sister, she's now, the only wife, and now the brother's about to marry someone else. Now there's a problem. Can you elaborate on that and from your experience?
Can you repeat that?
It seems like some sisters or many sisters, come into polygyny. They come into the marriage as, a second, third, or fourth wife. and they don't necessarily seem to have an issue with that. But sometimes that same sister, because of divorce or death or what have you, now she's the only wife. Now the brother's about to marry someone else, and now she has a problem. Even though it's the same
I
sister.
already kind of touched on that. You know, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. You came in at one time, so you should afford that same courtesy for someone that's coming in. You understand?
I understand that, but why? Why is it like that?
Why?
Because to a lot of us brothers, that don't make sense.
Well, I can't speak for every sister, but in her mind, some people got like a long range. Like when they do stuff, they do it in long range, right? They were like, I can wait this out. He gonna be single one day, and I'm gonna be the only one. You understand? Instead of not having that mindset, that's why she have a problem. Because it's like, okay, I'm finally the only one. And then here goes somebody coming in. Because in her mind, she knew eventually she will be the only one at some point. So the intention for that situation was there. And that's why she had a problem for someone that's coming in. You understand?
Interesting.
One of my favorite hadith, love for your brother, sister, what you love for yourself. That is a beautiful hadith. That hadith is, woo, may Allah and allow us to really, really, truly believe that. You understand? And internalize that and act on that. But some of us, we're like, okay, I want for my brother what I want for myself, but not him. Right? You can have everybody but him. And that's what? Hostage. It was hostage, a blameworthy characteristic. It's blameworthy, meaning you can be punished for it. So we got to cleanse our heart. That's why it's important to learn our deen. SubhanAllah, the Prophet ﷺ taught us this about Islam, Iman, and Ihsan. That Ihsan is the wrong way to get rid of that stuff out your heart. We only worry about the first two, but then neglect the third part. That third part completes us. What is the benefit for a first wife? I don't understand that question. My mother became the only one after a long time. By that time, she wasn't worried about maintaining that only one status. MashaAllah. Yeah. When you get older, see, when you young, you all fiery. You got a different way of thinking. When you get older, you get laid back. This is what brothers and sisters. You get laid back. Things don't bother you as much. It's not so much concern. And I'm not saying being lazy with the team, but it's just like I can't believe that I was, involved or dealing with this or even being bothered with this. Like, who was I thinking? You wasn't. You had to grow, just like a caterpillar. What happens to a caterpillar? It just don't turn into a butterfly. It goes into its little cocoon thing, and then it sits there for a minute, and then it comes out beautiful, right? MashaAllah. So, yes, and that's another thing. And I have to put this out here. And I don't think it's the problem of the brothers. Some sisters worship their husband, not knowingly. They worship their husband. What do I mean by that? We pay attention to what he doing, and then we don't pay attention to what we doing for Allah. And so he gets all of our attention, and Allah should be getting all our attention. Because by giving Allah his attention, you give your husband the right attention. It's balanced. When it isn't balanced, then you feel a whole lot of emotions because you are so involved and what he's doing. May Allah bless us and increase us and make us better and clear and purify our hearts and be more, more brotherly and sisterly in this deen. It's possible. You gotta want that, okay? Whether it's polygyny or not, just you gotta want that. And may Allah rectify us. And I thank Allah for brother Imam Amin for his post-Fajr reflection. He had touched on something, and he's relating this. It's not coming from him. This is coming from the scholars of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'at. And he was referring to Imam Haddad. And it was a part in the book. He was saying something in the book of assistance regarding like how you should be and how you feel. And I may be mixing it up. I have to go back. And please excuse me, but how you deal with people. Like you want to be annoyed, not annoyed in like I just want people to annoy me, but I'd rather go through this and Allah is pleased with me than to have all my rights and then and then I'm not giving people their rights. So you're gonna go through some trial in this life. This is not the final destination. This is a prisoner for the believers, and this is a Jannah for the disbelievers. We got to remember that there's gonna be some struggle here. Jahid to Shahid, right?
You embarrassing the Imam. What was that? What you was DJing or something?
Josh, struggle and you will witness. You got to struggle with your nafs. You know what you're made of. Look at yourself and be honest with yourself. What is it that you're bringing to the table? What is it that you're doing for Allah to make you what you supposed like what you are owed? What are present yourself as being what you are entitled. None of us are entitled to anything, so we just try to do our best. Okay.
There's a question up there for you.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Has there ever been a situation y'all know of where the sister pressured the brother to have another wife? Yep. I've seen it. And then when it blows up, guess what? Guess what? My opinion, my opinion is don't involve yourself. Let him find his spouse. You can make a suggestion. You see a sister as his wife. Hey, what do you think about that sister? But pressuring him and all that stuff, let him handle that business. He grown. So, you know what I mean? What makes a husband good enough to share? I don't understand that question. What makes him good enough to share? You gotta evaluate that. You gotta give some more to that question. You gotta elaborate.
So here comes Imam Amin with that Shafi stuff, man.
But we're just trying to put a human side to this. We all, have our struggles. Some of us are still struggling with this deen, making salat, learning, our, Fard Ayn. Some of us are still at that level. We all are like caterpillars. We trying to develop into a whole human being close to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
That's a question for you.
Isn't it better to divorce amicably than cause fitna and polygyny? Why would you want to cause fitna and polygyny?
Maybe her jealousy or her problem with the situation is going to be a cause of fitna. Maybe she's saying that. So I think she's asking, wouldn't it be better to just divorce and get out the way?
I can't answer that. Every situation is different. It's got to really be, I can't answer that. I can't. If you think that's something that you got to do, make sure that's what you got to do, because if y'all got children, that's another. It's not about you. Sorry, what characteristics in a husband makes him good enough to share with another woman? I don't know. That's kind of like that question. What makes a person want to marry somebody? Polygyny is just like a marriage. It's just more than one person. It just happen to be the same person married to multiple women. Marriage is marriage. So you could marry that person for Dean. You could marry that person because he's good at whatever it is that, tickle your fancy. So it's hard to really answer that, because marriage is marriage. They're all not going to love him or want him for the same thing, just like he is not going to want every wife for the same thing. No matter how hard you try to be like someone else, be yourself. That's the best way you can be, and he'll love you unconditionally. With restrictions. But I'm just saying, he will love you. That will be pure love if you be yourself. You try to be somebody else. You trying to, trying to absurd. No, it's not going to work. Okay, be yourself. That's the best way to be. And if you don't love yourself in the meantime, you're going to have an issue. If you have, low self-esteem, if you have issues within yourself, it's just aggravated by the situation. It's not the situation. You already had it within your mind that you're not good enough. You always good enough. Allah created you. You good enough. He made you perfect. So I hope we just try to humanize this thing. We're not trying to give no rulings or anything, but just something to think about. Because our emotions get us in trouble. You do something in the heat of the moment, and then you regret it later. That's why the Prophet ﷺ advised the man to not get angry. He said it 3 times. Because you will regret what comes out your mouth. You will regret when you make certain moves while you were in that, in that state of emotion. And then you calm down and you're like, why did I do that? Because you shouldn't have gotten angry in the first place. You shouldn't have act on it. You got to think things through. So, you ain't got nothing to say, Brother Imam? Any other notions? Because it's supposed to talk about the husband taking care of the family. The notions. Got anything else to add?
Nope.
We don't win on topic.
I made my list. So when I marry number 3 and 4, I'm in the head to the list.
You ain't even got to do that. I don't care about that.
Oh, you don't care. You heard that, right?
I don't care about that. You know what I be telling you. You know what I be telling you. But does anybody else have any other comments? What hurts is when your husband isn't affectionate towards you and pays you not too much attention, and then goes and gets a second wife. Stay over there, Sasa. No. That's not about a polygyny, but in marriage, the Prophet ﷺ, he was affectionate towards his wives. Did y'all know that? He said best Islamic Negro show on Facebook.
It's your granddaughter.
Yeah, mashallah.
Your granddaughter.
Yes, Tata. Yes, the Prophet ﷺ was affectionate.
A lot of times people have issues about polygyny, and they think polygyny is the issue. But a lot of times it's not polygyny. It's marriage itself. Think about it. Most of us are completely ignorant about the basics of what makes a valid marriage, how to divorce properly. So we ignorant about the beginning of marriage. We ignorant about the end of marriage. And so everything in the middle is just ignorance on top of that. We don't know how to treat each other. Like we like we there's no like consideration. I mean, there's nothing. So a lot of times, like when we have these type of conversations, polygyny gets the blame, but it's not really polygyny. It's
Mm-hmm. It was already there.
people don't know how to treat themselves. Like usually when we have these conversations about polygyny, usually there's an extensive dialogue about brothers not taking care of their responsibility, so they can't have two wives. But when you zoom in on those situations, nine times out of 10, them same brothers you're talking about wasn't taking care of the one wife when they had one wife. With polygyny is the issues with the brother, and it's taking care of the responsibility. But regardless if it's two or three or four, he's not even taking care of one.
Mm.
And so, like we like to always blame polygyny. We like to always blame polygyny, but a lot of times it ain't polygyny. It's other issues. And also, like I meant to mention earlier, like a lot of times, and this happens all the time. A brother marries a sister. They're the only ones in the marriage, monogamy. There's an agreement that took place in the beginning of the marriage. I'm going to let you slide on your financial responsibilities, brother, until you get on your feet. That's real vague. There's no time limits. There's no other There's no other stipulations. Till you get on your feet. Then this same brother meets another sister, and she's ready to make the same agreement. I'll marry you, even though you got another wife, and you don't need to take care of me. Whenever you get on your feet, And then the first wife said, "Whoa, wait a minute. You're not even taking care of me. How you gonna marry someone else?" Same way he married you. She's ready to wait her turn until he gonna get on his feet. He gonna get on his feet and take care of you. And then after some time he continue to get his weight up, then now he'll take care of you.
That's not funny.
But it's real, it happens. And that's why I say it's not always the brother's fault. It's just some brothers got some good game.
Yeah.
Some brothers got some good game, right? Because the brothers ain't got no gun in your head forcing you to do it.
But he knows.
It's a whole lot of brothers out there.
But he knows he's getting over. He knows.
I don't know what he knows. But the sisters they agree with it. The only time they get mad is when that other one's coming in. And if his game is good enough, she get mad for a little bit, and then she cool with it. Then here come number 3. How you gonna marry? They both. How you gonna marry someone else if you ain't even taking care of us? Same way he married y'all too.
SubhanAllah. Alhamdulillah. Mashallah. There is no wisdom without experience. And we definitely have some experience. And we just, is happy to share, hopefully to help, those who are in it or trying to get in it and what have you. It can be challenging. But like you stated, and I like how you phrased that. Whatever was there was already there. Was the marriage. Whatever was there, it just, it just amplified. It didn't just boom happen over, because of the situation. Y'all chose to ignore it, and then here's the situation that highlights it, and you're like, wait a minute. You got this and this going on? Oh, heck no. SubhanAllah. Mm-mm-mm.
Alhamdulillah. I'm good.
You
Okay.
good? Okay. Well, can you close us out?
No, you close out this show.
I'm always closing out.
That's why you close it out.
I opened up too.
Alhamdulillah.
Mashallah. I thank Allah. I thank Allah for y'all for participating. We've been on here too long, but it was good dialogue in my opinion, and necessary. We just tried to bring things to light. If y'all hadn't noticed, each week we have a certain theme. So this theme happened to be about this. So next week, for each week, we already formalized what we're going to talk about. We have the theme, so it's just a matter of what we're going to speak specifically like that. So if y'all pay attention before we even um, before you even announce it, you're going to know what that subject matter is going to be about before we even advertise. Okay. But we thank you for participating in the discussion. It didn't, we kind of like digress, but it was necessary. And so I hope that, it helped us to, reflect, reflect on ourselves, reflect on our hearts, and reflect on our relationship with the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But with that being said, please make dua for all your Muslim brothers and sisters in the world, wherever they may be. Make dua that Allah guide those who don't have Islam, guide those into this deen. May Allah, heal the hearts of those that had lost someone, during this COVID situation, you know, police brutality, all types of stuff. Make dua, and don't give up. No matter what, don't ever give up. And don't pass that mentality to your children about giving up. It's not acceptable, and we're not going to be thinking like that. We on a new path, of trying to break these generational curses that we find ourselves. And I want to thank my co-host, Imam Naim Abdullah, mashallah. I love him. That's my best friend. Alhamdulillah. And I ask Allah to raise his rank, and I ask Allah to bless our marriage and, make it stronger and make it last long. And we meet each other again in Jannah, inshallah. Ameen, ameen, ameen. And I thank him for giving me beautiful children, whether it's from my womb or not. And I thank him for that as well, for that opportunity, mashallah. Ameen, ameen, ameen. With that being said, Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Wal asra innal insana lafi khusra illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihati wa tawassaw bil haqqi wa tawassaw bis sabr. Al-Fatiha. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.